Hey, this week's Vanguard episode is late and different, so that's gonna be great. The main reason I've been busy is I've been stockpiling certain things, I've been busy working on other stuff. And it's E3 week, so E3's been keeping me busy, keeping up with all the leaks and all that other stuff. So I've just been kind of busy working on lots of different stuff. I've done quite a few drawings and stuff recently. But yeah, I did see the new Japanese episode. If you want the long and short of it, I thought it was pretty good. It did some interesting stuff. We'll talk a bit more in depth with it when I do the next episode review video. But yeah, I thought this week it would be an interesting thing to kind of take a step back and talk about the English dub for the CardFight Vanguard anime, or the new, currently airing one. Because, I did say that I was going to probably just talk about it during one of the episode reviews or whatever, but then I thought, it might be an interesting thing to do instead, to separate it like this, because I imagine a lot of people watching the Japanese episode reviews and stuff probably don't care about the English dub, and it felt kind of awkward to squeeze it into the end of an already existing video, so why not just make it its own video and get it out of the way. So yeah, we're going to talk about the English dub of the new CardFight Vanguard anime. I guess the first thing to get out of the way is the opening and ending theme. I quite like the opening theme. Again, both the opening theme and the ending theme are just the same song, except in English instead of Japanese. And the English one, and the opening even, is still sung by Rosalia, just in English this time, and I think it sounds fine. There's quite a bit of English in it, like mispronunciations and that kind of thing, but I still think it sounds pretty good. The ending theme sounds way better though. They changed the singer for that one, so no English, and it just sounds way better than the Japanese version in my opinion. I don't really like Aichi's Japanese voice actor, and so him singing the Japanese version I wasn't the biggest fan of, but the person that sang the new English version of the ending sounds way better in my opinion. Of course, you don't need to agree with that opinion. Yes. So, currently the English dub is 2 episodes behind. 3 episodes? It's 3 episodes, because 3 dub episodes have aired, whereas 6 Japanese version have aired. My recommendation, obviously, see, that's difficult as to my recommendation of should you watch the dub or the sub. Because usually with Vanguard I'm like, you should watch the dub. But it's been fun watching every episode of the Japanese version the second it airs, and giving my opinion and having discussions in the comment sections of my videos and stuff. And that's really fun. And whilst I do still prefer the English version, I still really like keeping up with the Japanese and being completely up to date. So I'm gonna stick with both for now, by the way. That's my answer. I'm watching both the Japanese and the English the second they air, both of them. Because I don't mind rewatching the episodes for now. I mean, eventually I could tell it'll get to the point where I stop watching the English dub, just because it's okay, I've seen these episodes before. But again, for now, the novelty of the new series hasn't quite set in for me, so I don't mind watching the same episodes a second time. In fact, I prefer watching them the second time in English, actually, because again, I just like the English dub way more. My third episode video, for example, about episode 3, was fairly negative. I did a lot of complaining about Kamui and everything, and watching the English version, I had a lot more fun with that episode, mainly, I guess, because I knew what I was expecting, but also I just like the English version of Kamui more. I think his voice fits him better. He sounds way less generic. He definitely has a unique voice in the English version, but I do like that better. Yeah, I guess we should now kind of just get into the nitty-gritty of which voice actors did they change, which ones did they keep the same, and are the changes beneficial? Okay, so, real important, Rekka's the same, which is perfect. Yeah, I haven't made it any kind of secret on this channel at all that I really like Rekka, and her English dub voice actor is the same. It's still Michelle Molyneux, which is great. I really like Michelle Molyneux, I really like Rekka, so Michelle Molyneux continuing to play Rekka is great. She does a great job of it. Of course, she's only got one line as Rekka so far in this series, so, but I can't imagine she'd be any worse as Rekka than she was in the original. Definitely a better role for her to play than Mikaru in G, who got like a couple lines throughout the entire series. So that's good. James Beach, still Aichi. Perfect. Again, if they changed Aichi to anyone but James Beach in the English dub, I would be disappointed personally. He is the voice that I think of when I think of Aichi. He's still great at playing him. In fact, if anything, his performance has gotten better in this new series. There's a lot of nuance to his line delivery and everything. I really like it. James Beach is Aichi, and I'm glad that's staying for now. Let's get to our first change. So, Misaki was the first character to be changed in terms of voice actor in this series. And so she used to be Caroline Day, and now she's voiced by Natasha Strickley. And Caroline Day's Twitter post announcing this made it sound like it was a decision by her, that she didn't want to play the character anymore, and she wanted to give someone else a shot at playing her, because she's been playing it for so long, and that's true, she's been playing it for years. And so, the idea of passing the torch on is a pretty decent idea. And I'm glad I gave it 3 episodes before I made this video, because honestly, in the first 2 episodes, wasn't feeling Misaki's new voice. I wasn't feeling it. But in the 3rd episode, it started to click together. Maybe it was because Misaki got more lines, or maybe it was because I was getting used to her, but I really, really like Natasha Strickley's performance. She does a really, really great job of still sounding like Misaki, but not doing an outright impersonation of the previous voice actor. It's a really nice blend, so it takes a little bit of getting used to, but she still sounds like Misaki, even if she sounds different. And remember, this is a reboot, which means they're going to be changing things anyway, so why not change some of the voice actors, as long as they don't change Aichi and Rekka. I'm being biased here. So, yeah, as far as I'm aware, Kai's the same, and if he has been replaced, then he sounds the same, so yeah, take that how you will. Miwa is different now. Miwa, I'm interested, because he sounds really different. The new voice actor for Miwa sounds really different to the previous guy, but to be fair, as I've already mentioned, in this reboot, Miwa is basically a different character anyway. He's a much more comedic and exaggerated over-the-top character, whereas in the original, he was more like calm and more of like a voice of reason. So, changing the voice actor makes sense, and the change that they made specifically makes sense. My only problem is that he sounds a little bit too young, I guess. Like, his voice is a little bit too high-pitched coming out of a character that's that old. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But yeah, I could definitely get used to it super fast though. And again, I can see why they made the choice they did. Because that's the thing, it's like, a lot of people complain the second they replace voice actors, and that's understandable and everything, because you're so used to the previous one. But when Bushiroad get put into a position where they have no choice but to change the voice actor, then it's like, well, what are they going to do then? And so as long as the changes that they make are ones that make sense, then I'm fine with it. And the change they made to Miwa is one that does make sense with this new series, because again, the new version of Miwa may as well be a different character anyway, because he's changed so much. So the change in voice actor is fine. Kamui is the same. Thank God. I'm not the biggest fan of Kamui. I still like him. But one of my favorite things about him is the English dub voice, and thank God he is the same. Also, I just think the way he's written, like the way the way the script is like tweaked in the English version and like reworded, it makes Kamui feel like a better character in my opinion. Maybe I'm talking out my ass here. Maybe what I'm saying doesn't make sense, but that's something I've thought. Another thing is in the English dub version of episode 3. When Kamui uses his Excel imaginary gift, Miwa actually throws in like a line that's basically like, oh, this is the reason I lost, by the way, because I got caught off guard by him using an Excel imaginary gift. I've never gone against one before, so yeah. That's cool. I don't remember that in the Japanese version at all. I don't remember that line being there. So the fact they threw that in, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that wasn't the Japanese version. It's been a while since I saw the Japanese version of that episode, but I don't remember that line being there. God help them though. They tried to save Kai's, like, oh, he built the deck as a kid and that's why he won against Kamui thing. They tried to save that speech and reword it in a way that made sense, but it must be an impossible task because Kai during that scene speaks absolute bullshit and there's no way of saving it. Again, they reword it so it's like, oh, he had more time to imagine his victory path or whatever. And it's like, I guess that ties into the whole Planet Cray stuff a bit better, but it still doesn't quite make sense. Which is funny because in the new episode, the brand new Japanese episode, it actually makes sense because they do explain that Kamui only just got his deck. So the thing I said in one of my episode reviews where I was like, oh, but Kamui obviously put a bunch of thought into making his deck and everything too. Well, that's bullshit. No, he didn't. He only just got that deck. When Kamui says that he's gone undefeated in episode 3, he means the deck has gone undefeated, not him himself, which he does say, but yeah, it does make it sound like he is undefeated when it's just his deck that's gone undefeated because he's barely even used that deck. So, if you want a sneak preview of the next episode review, that's a thing that I say, I guess. But yeah, no, other than that, I think Morikawa's different. Not the biggest fan of his new voice, but whatever, I'll get over it. Emmy, see, they gave her a really rough line, I think, or just they used a really rough line read in episode 2, because when I heard her voice in episode 2 at the end, she got like a single line or whatever, and it sounded super bad. And I thought that her new voice actress was crap, but to give a new voice actress credit, she really saved it in episode 3. Again, I'm really happy I waited until episode 3 had aired until I started recording this. Because, yeah, she did a much better job of saving her performance in episode 3. Still not great. And maybe it's a case of me taking time to get used to it, but she does a lot better here. And something to bear in mind whenever I criticize any of the new voice actors, I am doing out of love. I'm not saying that the voice actor is crap or anything. I'm just acknowledging that being given the job to play a character that had only just been played by a different actor is one of the most difficult jobs in the entire world. Because people will have that original voice in their heads, and so when they see a different voice come out of that character, they are going to react negatively no matter what. So, it's a difficult job, and it's a difficult balance, because you want some of the original voice actor to be there. You want to sound a bit like them so it still sounds like the same character, but you also want to not just do an impersonation either, because it's really bad when voice actors just do impersonations of their previous actor, because it sounds fake. It sounds like a different person doing an impersonation rather than a new person just acting. So it's a really, really difficult job, and so at the end of the day, the thing I just want to point out is, all things considered, all of the new voice actors have done a really, really good job at that. There are a couple I haven't gotten used to quite yet with Emmy and Morikawa, but overall, they've still done great. Especially Misaki and Miwa. And so yeah, there's not much to really say other than that. This has gone on for quite a while. But yeah, that's the English dub. Again, my recommendation is if you can, if you don't mind not being fully caught up, then totally go ahead and watch the English dub instead. I mean, my episode reviews will be waiting for you anyway, you know. So, but at the same time, catch up with the Japanese version if you want to be caught up. That's basically that case. My recommendation of, oh, should you watch the English dub is basically just a question of how patient are you. But again, I'm keeping up with both, and I'll see you later, where we will be talking about the next episode of the Japanese version of Vanguard. Probably the next two. So yeah, see ya then.